And now
And I've got...
I think we will... Well, we're going live. It's just connecting the streaming software to YouTube, so...
Got it, okay. I was going to say, once we're connected, I want to share this with, like, all of my followers so that they can know I'm on here.
Yay. Your followers are always good value to have in the chat.
Yeah, I gotta let the fam know. I'm probably gonna do it like for the Discord instead of YouTube, since I'm trying not that. I literally had like a spam chat on YouTube where just shit posting. So I'm like, okay, Discord will be getting this, and I'm just gonna at everyone.
Well, you are live now, so.
Oh my.
SB did this to me the other week. We were just talking and he didn't actually bother to tell me when we were going live. And for literally about 40 minutes, I thought we were just like gossiping.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I didn't realize until like there was a point where he was kind of trying to avoid there being any dead air. And I was like, why do you keep asking me questions? Oh, because we're live.
What? That sounds like an Espiritu thing to do, though.
The only thing that I was worried about was that I'd accidentally said some spoilers because I thought we were just talking ourselves, but...
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Okay, well, my fans now know we're live, too.
And we've got some people in the chat.
And I'm going to click that.
And
I'm going to mute the audio for me so I don't get any echo feedback.
Okay. Can everybody hear us okay? Let us know in the chat if I need to adjust anything. But yes, we are here for episode 6. And today I've got Brandon Varnell, the original English light novel author. And you are like the original English light novel author.
Yes, I am pretty sure I'm the original. I mean, I started in like 2013 and no one was publishing light novels back then. English ones, I mean.
Yeah. And
I see the Bone Man. He was in our last stream.
Yeah, the Bone Man shows up when he can. He's always a good value person to have on. We've got Necro in the chat. Yay. And...
he's like that elusive figure on Twitter, right?
He's not that elusive.
No, I feel like Espiritu was talking about him. Everyone wants him to follow you.
He does.
To follow him.
He does follow me.
Doesn't follow me. Necro, follow me.
But the reason why we've just got Brandon and no Espiritu this week is because Espiritu is in. He's had some surgery done. And so he's still in hospital right now. I don't even know if he's listening to this, but if he is, then obviously we wish him a very speedy recovery, and I hope he's going to be all right. But he did say the surgery went well. He has been experiencing some pain and stuff, but he seems quite optimistic that he'll be going home soon. So for anybody who's been worrying about him, that's the situation. But we have Brandon, and we are going to talk about the episode. So,
yeah, and I also want to wish Espiritu a speedy recovery.
Yeah.
Not quite the same without him trying to NTR me.
Can you turn your microphone up a bit? It seems like people are having trouble hearing you, and I have desktop.
Yes, let me see.
I have desktop audio on full volume, so.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna check my sound settings here. My speaker. Where's my speaker? It's up. Advanced. I think it's all as loud as it can be, but maybe I can do something about it on Discord.
Or you could get real close to the microphone and do it ASMR style.
Oh, I could do that. I am actually pretty close. This microphone is like kissing my lips right now, so it's kind of like I'm kissing you.
Oh, lucky microphone.
I know, you're jealous, right?
Of course.
Okay. Well, now that I have properly rizzed you up and made you jealous, should we talk about Mushoku Tensei?
I think we should. So, obviously a couple of big things to talk about with this episode. Where would you like to begin?
So I think the first thing I want to mention is that female Rudeus is real. FR.
Yes, we did get to see a little kind of Easter egg in terms of the statue of female Rudeus.
I was gonna say, he would make an actually really hot chick. Like, not gonna lie.
Hotter than female Subaru. Hotter than Natsumi.
Maybe. I'd have to see female Subaru. I won't lie, I haven't seen a female Subaru yet.
Well, Subaru actually does cross-dress sometimes. Female Subaru is a canon thing. It's just Subaru in a dress, but it is actually a canon thing.
Oh gosh, see that? Now I've got to continue the series. I'm not gonna lie, I sort of dropped off around season 2 because stuff was happening. So I have got to get back into that just so I can see him cross-dressing.
Well, it hasn't happened in the anime yet, but it was in a side story, and then it became part of the main plot in Arc 7.
Got it. Okay. Well, that'll be interesting to see then.
Yeah, and there is like official art for it from the light novels, so you can see what she looks like.
So, and I just want to say, I like that you have like the image of Fitz, quotation marks, air quotes, on as our thumbnail for this.
Of course, I could have done Juliet, but it was a bit of a dark picture, you know, like, so it wasn't quite as eye-catching. So I went with Fitz.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we could have also done like Zanoba hugging his statues, but that might have scared people off.
Before we went live, we were talking about the whole situation with Zanoba and what he likes to do with the statues. And it is canon that he cannot actually have sex with real women because of his super strength. It would be too dangerous. So whether the statues thing is kind of him making do, or he really is he just prefers statues, you know, like.
I honestly feel like it's probably a combination of both, but if we had ever gotten like the psychiatrist on for this episode, he could probably explain some sort of psychological reason for why Zanoba fell in love with statues, because he couldn't fall in love with a human since he would kill whoever he was with.
Yeah, and he kind of he likes statues because he knows he can't hurt them, you know. And he has hurt people in the past, as we saw. He named Julie after his brother, who he accidentally killed. So you can see where he would end up with that, even without Ed's training. But I'm sure Ed will talk about it on his stream later.
Most likely. I'll be looking forward to that. I did really like the reintroduction of Zanoba, not only because, you know, I've read the light novels and I know what happens later on in the series, but just because having like a recurring character who actually begins to play an important role in the story is something you don't often see in like an isekai, unless it's, you know, a woman who eventually joins the protagonist's harem.
Yeah. And we'll be seeing more of Cliff as well soon, so.
Which I'm also really looking forward to.
Definitely.
Speaking of Cliff, I really like the scene with Alina Lise. I don't know if anyone else noticed or thought about this, but I felt like the fountain squirting immediately after he was seen seducing that student was sort of symbolic.
Yeah. But
I was like, wow.
Where do you stand on? Because me and SB have this ongoing debate about this, right? Whether or not Rudeus is bi. And SB thinks he is, and I think he's not.
I think he is straight, but he may have some exceptions. I think we all have these exceptions, you know, like if Ryan Reynolds ever came on to me, I'd ride that.
What about Henry Cavill?
You know?
Most guys, it's Henry Cavill.
No, I love Henry Cavill. He's a great dude. Would not tap that.
Okay.
No smash.
Jason Momoa.
No.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds like the sole
Just
exception
Ryan Reynolds.
for me. Just Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool. I'll accept Deadpool too.
But that's Ryan Reynolds. That's every character Ryan Reynolds plays.
Exactly. And that's my point. It is only Ryan Reynolds or his alter ego.
I don't know who I'd
But
be gay
so,
for. Probably most anime girls, but of real people, probably. I can't really think of like a girl crush I have. No.
To be fair, I can't think of a whole lot either, at least in terms of celebrities.
Yeah.
And I'm a dude.
I can think of plenty of waifus from anime. Maybe I just don't like the 3D women, you know.
3D women are trash. FR.
Or maybe
2D is where it's at.
Maybe I'm just too boring to even be slightly bi or whatever.
I mean, some people are just like completely straight.
Yeah.
No, nothing wrong with that.
It's a bit boring though, isn't it?
It is a bit boring, unfortunately. I'm lying, it's not boring.
But we would say Rudeus is like, he's like you, he's straight, but with the odd exception, like, you know, most guys probably have. And
yes.
Yeah,
and honestly
I'd agree.
Honestly speaking, I think it's also like subconsciously he probably recognizes the feminine traits in Fitz.
I think subconsciously he actually knows it's Sylvie. He just isn't ready to admit to himself that there's that person there because he's still a bit traumatized and everything, and you know, it's easier for him to think this is just my new friend, and if I have confusing feelings for them, then, you know, whatever. It's not like he really seems to mind if he actually turned out to be bi or gay. It's more like, I think he just knows, subconsciously at least. I mean, he noticed things like the wand. And she's been dropping a lot of hints, talking about her master and all that sort of stuff. And, you know.
Right, oh my god, she drops so many hints. Like, in all honesty, I laughed every single time Rudy called Fitz a man, or when he's like, oh, I would love to meet your master. I'm like, oh my god, my boy. Do you not realize?
Yeah, like...
Are you really that dense?
And she's talking about how it's a good idea to get a child for their purposes because you can increase their mana capacity and teach them chantless magic more easily, because that's how it worked for her and her master. It's like, yeah, of course,
and like
Fitz.
literally there are only 2 people who can do that, right?
Yeah.
As far as we know.
Yeah, I mean, it was rare enough that there have been other people that can do it, but it's rare enough that they're the only 2 people at the university, so, you know.
Exactly. There's a lot of signs.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, yeah, I do think Rudy is purposefully ignoring the signs.
Yeah.
Right now because he's really just focused on being able to get his mojo back.
Yeah.
You know, he's like Austin Powers. He lost his mojo. He needs it back. And then, you know, B, I don't think he's quite ready to be with Sylphie because of his problems.
Yeah. And the other example that SB sometimes uses when we discuss this is that when Rudeus thought child Sylphie was a boy, he did talk about how attractive he thought boy Sylphie was going to look when he was older. But he really did it more in a kind of way like, I want to stay friends with him so I can pick up girls easily, you know, like having a good looking guy around and help me pick up girls.
Wingman who got like the side piece.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, Sylphie would make I'd be such a great wingman for Sylphie. Or Sylphie would be like the wingman for him, I guess. Because he's the one who wanted to get laid.
I think Luke could be a good wingman.
Oh, Luke. No. Luke would be an awful wingman because he would try to steal every woman you want.
Only one that I can think of. And we can't spoil that.
Wait, what? Well, so I mean, the thing is, like, Luke is a ladies' man. Like, you see him with women all the time, and I think in the light novels, especially, they go in great detail about how he beds women constantly.
Yeah,
So
but
I feel like if you were to be,
he does basically like fall in love at first sight with someone.
he does, and we're not.
Yeah,
we're
we
not
can't
gonna do
spoil
it
that.
because that's not even gonna be talked about in the anime this time, unless we go to like season 3. That's gonna be like a season 3 thing. So we won't mention that. I am curious to know how many people actually know who we're talking about, though.
Yeah.
I do know it. Thank you.
I think a lot of them do because we have quite a lot of light novel readers that come on these streams. But, you know, it's better to be vague. And yeah, I just want to reply to some people in the chat. Hey, Victor, good to see you again. And yeah, Espy's not here. He's in hospital. If he is listening to this, I'm sure everybody in the chat wishes him the best, as we do, of course. Derek says, Rudy deep down knows it's Sylphie, but he's scared to admit it because if he does, then he will have to perform, which he knows he's not able to do at this time. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's the way I see it anyway.
I can see why people would think that. I do think that there has been a precedence of where he did think, you know, Sylphie was a girl before, like we talked about.
Yeah.
So it could literally just be that he doesn't know at all. But
yeah.
I can definitely see why that would be.
I mean, the thing with
people would think.
The thing with Rudeus is, you know, he didn't really, in his past life, he didn't really care. He would basically jack it to anything because he had accepted he was never going to have any real relationships. So he was just kind of like, whatever. He was so far down the rabbit hole of, you know, sketchy hentai and stuff that he was just kind of, it doesn't matter, does it? None of these people are real. And now he's in a position where he has had a real relationship. It has already traumatized him. He's starting to figure out what he might actually be into and what he might be like in a real relationship. But he's very much at the beginning of that. And so it's not surprising that he does wonder why do I feel attracted to this person that is ostensibly male? I didn't think I was gay, but if I'm gay or bi, so be it. You know, he's not really that bothered. But it's interesting.
No, for sure. Well, and also, speaking of like his past life, like I kind of want to segue that into the introduction of Julie.
Yes, we'll get onto that. I just want to quickly answer a question. Josh Thomas Moore says, I'm a bit curious, but does anyone else who knew Sylphie before the incident not recognize her? Actually, she hasn't seen anybody who knew her before the incident yet. So, you know, we would need her to see somebody like Paul or something for that to come up. And nothing like that's happened.
Rudy's the only one who has seen her so far that would actually recognize her.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't. So, and I think a lot of that is also because, you know, she did become Fitz, and, you know, no one else was magically transported into the palace of, you know, the Asura kingdom.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't think there's anyone who actually could recognize her, and I don't know, I kind of want to go into this, but I don't know if it's spoilers. Her parents, would that be like spoilers?
It's cut content, I would say, because it should be known by now, but isn't, I think. But
so I know that the anime never went into it.
Yeah.
Into what happened to her dad, at least.
But I believe it is known at this point in the story, like novel-wise, but a lot of stuff was cut from Sylphie's story, you know, because they just covered the whole thing in episode 0.
Right.
But I believe she would know by now.
Yeah.
So
When I think they discuss it in the light novels during this particular episode, like where it takes place, that her parents are gone.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the only people, because Sylphie just lived in Buena Village, like, her whole life until the teleportation incident. So the only people that would be able to recognize her would be anybody else from that village. And the only relevant characters would be Rudeus's family and her parents. And she hasn't run into any of them yet.
Yeah, well, and we could also probably include her bullies, but if we remember season 1, her bullies were actually transported to Millis, where I think they were enslaved, and then Paul's group rescued them.
Right.
So they couldn't have seen her either.
No. So, yeah, there weren't a lot of people that knew Sylphie to begin with.
Are just not around.
Forget-Me-Not says Aisha would recognize her right away. I don't know that she would, because Aisha was probably only like 3 when she last saw her.
Aisha was a baby. Like, Aisha is like a smart cookie. You know, super
but nobody's that smart. Except Rudy when he was a baby, but, you know.
It's not even a matter of being like smart. You don't remember things that happen at 3 unless you've got like a perfect memory.
Yeah. And you know, Sylphie herself is now like quite a lot older. Her hair's changed colour. You know, an older Aisha definitely would have, but you know, Aisha wouldn't be fooled by a pair of sunglasses like Rudy. But you know.
Speaking of, like, Fitz is basically like Clark Kent, isn't she?
Yeah.
Put on the sunglasses and no one recognizes her.
At least they're sunglasses, so at least it's like covering the colour of her eyes. Clark Kent they're just That's normal. True.
Yeah. I don't even know how anyone doesn't recognize that he's freaking Superman.
Isn't it supposed to be that he's constantly having some kind of like mild seizure, so he's like vibrating and people don't look at him properly or something? I don't know, man. I don't care about superheroes.
The only thing I know about him is that he wears his underwear outside of his outfit, and that's all I need to know about him.
And he's from space.
And he's from space. He is an alien. I suppose technically Rudy could be an alien too, if you really think about it.
You could consider him an alien, yeah. I don't know though, because he was reincarnated.
But it's still a different world, right?
Yeah, but he's in a body of that world. You know, he has parents from that world, so his like genetic material is all from that world. He's just got a soul from another world.
That's true. Okay, we'll drop the alien act then.
Yeah.
So,
but there's other people that could be considered aliens.
This is true, but
we're not allowed to talk about that.
In episode. Do you think they'll be introduced in episode 7?
I'm not sure if it'll be 7 or 8. I think next week we're just going to get a lot of Beast Girl stuff that's going to break the internet. Or at least X.
oh my god, the Beast Girls.
And we call it X.
I cannot wait for that.
We call it X because me and SB have decided to just always call it X because it annoys people so much.
I'm just going to call it X videos. At least when I make video. So but no, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Like the introduction of like Persuna and
Linnea.
How do you pronounce the other?
Linnea.
Yeah. I'm looking Linnea.
Yeah.
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 You know when you do that, you make me want to like give you chin scratches.
Oh.
It's too bad I can't like reach my hand into the monitor and like appear out of your monitor.
That would be really scary though, really. If you could do that. Because if you could do...
We see that all the time in like anime artwork, but that would honestly be legit horror.
But if somebody could actually do that to give you chin scratches, it would also mean that it was possible to punch people through the internet. And just imagine how many people would get punched through the internet.
my god. Every troll in the entire world would likely get decked in the face. Being an anon would mean absolutely nothing anymore.
Yeah.
You're still getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
So, since we don't want to talk about what's going to happen next episode yet, right?
No, I mean, those characters were introduced last week, so it's not a spoiler to talk about the fact they exist and they'll be in it next week. But it's gonna be an episode that people on X are going to they're gonna do what they do best.
Was it Rule 34 of the internet?
That's another thing they're going to do, but I think getting enraged is probably the thing they're going to do most on X. Somebody just said, I think it was, the Bone Man said, haven't seen many getting angry about the slave thing from Twitter/X yet. So, do you think that's just because people haven't watched the episode yet, who are the type who would get angry about it? Or do you think it's because maybe people actually just didn't find it that bad? I find it very difficult to believe that people won't, go on about it, because they always do with Shield Hero. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sure some people will get angry about it eventually once, the air quote normies find the episode. But I feel like for the most part, the anime slave trope is so prevalent in isekai series that anyone who has ever watched an isekai knows about this trope. And in all honesty, I don't think it was this bad this time because of two specific reasons. One, there was no sexualization of Julie as a character.
No, and there never will be either.
And most isekai, thank God for that. In most isekai, the slave that the protagonist buys is always someone who winds up joining the harem. They get super sexualized. They're basically just there for fan service.
Yeah,
whereas
I mean,
this one,
in the case of Julie, even though she will, of course, grow up over the course of the series, as everyone will, she is never really a love interest for anybody or anything like that. And, of course, she wasn't hired to do something like fighting, like Raftalia. She's hired to make figurines, and all she really has to do is, learn to speak the human tongue and make figurines and study magic. It's kind of more like she got adopted than anything, really. She's not forced to fight. She's not forced to do anything unpleasant at all, and she's not sexualized. She's really... I think the thing people will have a problem with is the fact that Rudy and Sylphie were both really kind of... They didn't really...
Blasé about it.
Yeah, they... And I mean, it is a normal part of that world, but you'd think Rudeus at least would normally be a little bit like, oh, I hadn't thought of that because that's not something I would have thought of because I'm from another world, where that would be a really bad thing. Whereas, Fitz is different. So... she's been living in the palace and stuff, she's seen a lot of...
Well, in the Austrian kingdom is all about... They do slavery a lot. I'm pretty sure that's a common thing in the Austrian kingdom. So she would be pretty much immune to it, desensitized.
But I mean, Rudy had seen slaves, because Sauros had all those beast slaves. They were just working as servants. They weren't... Well, they were kind of bang maids, weren't they? But,
I mean, he did walk into Barrows having sex with one of those beast women girls. So, there was that. I also think that, let's not lie, Rudeus before he reincarnated was scummy.
Yeah.
He was a trash human who stayed in his room and jacked off to porn. And, I'm pretty sure, the slavery trope, it's really prevalent in visual novels as well. So I'm 100% sure that at this point in time, he had been so desensitized to the concept that it probably didn't bother him.
Yeah. And, I mean, you can tell from the scene where he meets Julie that he has no intentions of doing anything unpleasant to her or, anything that you would consider in that setting to be an immoral thing. It was kind of funny that he didn't pick up on Fitzlope being confused by how big the naked guy's junk was.
Right? Oh my God! Yeah, you think that would be like a sign? Like, has he never seen his own junk before? Like, what?
Yeah.
Does he just not look at it? No, it's the expression of a virgin. Apparently, virgins
like,
don't know what a penis looks like.
Yeah, virgin women don't. Like.
I mean, unless they also look at porn, but...
Yeah, but in that world, that wouldn't really be an option. They don't have OnlyFans and stuff, you know, so... You know, unless you're from one of those weird families where everyone just walks around naked all the time, you're not going to see... You're not going to see one until you have a reason to interact with it. Trust me, I'm an only child.
You know what? I'm actually a little surprised that... Manga Note has not written a chapter where there's just like a nudist colony somewhere in this world. Like just thinking about people walking around naked all the time.
Well, the people at the slave markets are, I guess, but that's more to check their physical condition, I guess, rather than.
Yeah, I think that's to check for like deformities and whether or not you want to buy that particular slave, and depending on like what you're buying for, I don't know. Like that did kind of shock me though. Like you don't usually see like just full on nudity, even if it was censored by Fitz's face or head.
But they didn't
like that.
They didn't have Julie be naked, which was a bit more tasteful considering. She's 6.
I like that.
Like, I mean,
I don't.
If there's something
like
that.
She was naked during the light novel, was she?
No.
Okay.
If there's something like that in a book or an anime, I don't really care, but it's just not worth the arguments, you know.
Yeah, I don't particularly care either, but I don't know if I'd actually want to see that.
No, I wouldn't particularly want to, but it's just if it's in there because that's what happens in the story, you know. Okay, it's just, yeah, X would be even worse.
Oh my god, X would be blowing up like nobody's business. I'm sure it would break the internet at some point.
Forget Me Not asks...
from people who probably didn't even watch it.
Yeah. Forget Me Not asks, which is your favourite race of people shown in the anime thus far? I think you can guess what mine is.
Beast girls.
Particularly which kind of beast
like
girls?
Cat girls.
Yeah.
Obviously. I'm kind of sad because there will probably never be a fox girl.
I don't think there is, no.
Yeah, there's cat girls, and there's dog girls, and I think that's about it. At least as far as I am aware.
Oh, the Bone Man. Ara, thank you. He says the only gripe with this episode is the scene with Julie. She doesn't look as ragged or dead as she was described in the light novel. Of course, it's really only the looks that I dislike. Anyway, is it possible to get an ara from Brandon?
You want to get an ara from me? I mean, I can definitely do my best. Before I do that, though, I will say that you do have a point. I feel like Julie didn't look quite as defeated as she should have.
She looked cute, didn't she? She just looked like, not quite as... much like she was on death's door and had given up on everything. And
yeah, she definitely didn't look quite as dead as I would have expected. However, you wanted an ara, so I will give you my best. Let me clear my throat for a second here. Oh, a little nervous. Can I do this? Ara. How was that? Is that okay?
I don't know.
The
Bone Man requested it. We need to know what he thought of it. Because I always do the ara-aras when people do super chats. But
I want to know
if I got a guest, sometimes they have to do it too.
Well, so like,
Oh, you
what I
want to
really
know
wanted
if
to
it you
argue
want to know
about,
if it did anything
that
for
gets
me?
you going? Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
it
that
was
get
a
the
good
motor
one.
running?
It was a good one. Yeah,
Okay.
it was solid.
Got it. So if I was like, sitting on a good throne, and you were just like kneeling before me, and I'm like, Ada, Ada, that'd get you going.
Yeah. I don't know why we need a throne and a whole scenario, but yeah, that would work.
We need a whole scenario here. I am an author. This is what we do. You know how it is.
I know.
And the Bone Man likes it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm glad
Lucas
you
Van
guys
Wangard
agree.
said not bad, Brandon. So he liked it too.
Okay. Well, if any of you guys do more of that, what is it called? Super
chats.
Yeah, if anyone else does that, and you want an Ada from me, go ahead and ask. I'm more than willing.
When I've had Necro on my streams before, everyone was asking him for them. I think some people clipped them and made them their ringtones.
You know what? Now I kind of want to see his streams now. I haven't watched any of the streams with him in them, so now I have to.
He's not really into Mushoku Tensei, so I've never got him on for these ones. But we've streamed. I've been on his streams before as well, and he's been on mine. So, when I was just doing chat streams, he's pretty good at the Ada himself.
All right, you're getting me hyped up for that. And now they want to see an Ada between me and SB.
Oh yeah, I mean,
we have like an Ada off.
Ara off. Yeah.
Yeah. Be like a duel. Who does the best Ada?
I don't know. Let the man recover first before we start making him dance for us.
No, for sure. We gotta make sure he is in tip-top shape. I would feel bad, if we did that and he wasn't at his best.
Yeah. Because he's known on Ed's stream as the Riz Master, so he can probably muster up a pretty good Ada. But we will see.
No, that'll be something that I will look forward to then in the next time I am guesting with both of you.
Yeah, we'll do that.
It will hopefully be, sometime soon. Though speaking of Julie, I saw people still talking about her in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking about her, how she didn't quite look like she should have, as she was described in the LN,
Mm-hmm.
the light novels. I will say though that I did like the addition of, how she reminded Rudeus of himself before he reincarnated.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for me, was how, it sort of goes into his mindset back then.
Yeah.
About how, he did probably consider suicide. He probably was super freaking depressed.
Yeah. And I think, the night that he died, there wasn't really any other. You couldn't see a way for him to improve his situation. He was completely rock bottom, and it was difficult to see anything other than that as an option for him, which
no, definitely. Well, and then you have to consider not only was he at rock bottom, but he had no support. His parents, the only people who supported him were his parents, and he had literally they died.
Yeah.
He wasn't even at their funeral, but they had died, and his family just kicked him out. So he had absolutely nothing to stand on. If he hadn't pushed that girl out of the way when she was about to get hit by the truck, and then hit himself, he would have probably died of starvation.
Yeah. Probably.
If he didn't commit suicide.
Yeah, I mean, in the light novel version of that scene, he's kind of just walking around thinking, what can I do? Is there a way I can get to somewhere where I can find a job or something? And he's having all these crazy, disjointed thoughts because he probably hasn't even been outside for years. He's got nothing except the clothes he's wearing.
And I don't even think he was wearing shoes.
No.
Like they literally just kicked him out in his sweatpants.
Yeah. But he got to have a nice new life. But I mean, like, no matter how much of a scumbag he was, you could see that he was well past the point of there being a way to turn it around in that situation. And so you can see why he would look at Julie and feel that way, because, you know, for her it was the same, yeah.
Like, he had nothing and she had nothing, and they had both essentially given up on life in general. Though I do think Julie was in a better off place, simply because, you know, at the end of that conversation, she did say, you know, I don't want to die.
Yeah.
Where I think Rudy probably did have, like, absolutely nothing. He probably wouldn't have minded if he died at all.
Yeah. But I think Rudy kind of, he knew that they could offer her at least the help she needed with her malnutrition and all of that, and that they weren't intending to treat her badly or any of that. So he knew he was offering her at least something better than her current situation, even if she would still be a slave. But he also knew that that wasn't enough, you know, if she'd truly given up on life, then it wouldn't be enough. So, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't get any of that. Your voice is coming through really distorted like a robot right now.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure why.
No, it's okay. It's not something to apologize for, but I'm just like, I'm trying to follow along, and it sort of sounds like robot beat bopping.
I was just talking about depressing things anyway, so let's answer.
Let's get back to chat room.
Let's answer some other people. Draco says he did skip out on his parents' funeral for watching the adult materials. He did, but bear in mind he also had very severe, like, agoraphobia. He hadn't been out in public for like 20 years. So I don't think it was that he skipped out on his parents' funeral just because he'd rather do that. It was because I don't think going was really an option for him, you know?
Well, and did he even know that his parents were dead before his family came in and kicked him out?
Yeah, he did.
I don't remember that.
He knew it was the day of their funeral, and he did make the decision not to go.
Okay. Yeah, no. It's been so long since I've read and watched that, which makes me feel like I need to go back and reread and rewatch the whole thing so that I can have it fresh in my mind. But, yeah, I think, like, you know, the issues with Rudeus at that time was that, you know, when you are at the point where he was, even the idea of going out is absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. And I get that, you know, Draco saying if there was one reason to go out into the outside world, that would be it. I don't know that it would really, because, I mean, they're already dead. Well, it's not going to bring them back to life, is it? So, you know, it's like a social obligation that most people would want to attend. But if going outside is that terrifying to you, as we saw that it was for Rudy, because we saw the situation where Roxy got him to go outside for the first time, you know, I don't know that it would be enough to prompt someone in that far gone in that kind of state. You know.
Speaking of, I really miss Roxy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. So, like, as much as I think Eris is the hottest character, you know, among all of the potential love interests, Roxy was always my favorite.
Oh, that's so weird. She's my least favorite.
Oh my god. You just like impaled me through the heart, and not in the shot of Cupid's arrow through my heart. Ooh. Oh. I felt that heartburn.
I think she's a nice person. I just think that she's the least entertaining and interesting of the three.
And that's fair. Everyone does have a favorite.
Mm.
You know.
And for me, you know, like
Fans all have.
I like the Fitz era Sylphie a lot, so I'm glad that people are getting to know Fitz now, because I think a lot of people found Sylphie quite boring before, but now you can see why you know, she is popular with people who've read the novels.
Right, why so many fans stan her.
Yeah.
No, and I actually do see the appeal now. Like, I did not like Sophie, like, at all. I was one of those people who thought Sophie was, like, the most boring character ever.
And I think that
and then
she was kind of innocent. She had to rely on Rudy for everything. You know, she wasn't very interesting until she had to, like, fend for herself, and then she became a really interesting character, and she remains quite interesting after that. And the other reason I'm not so keen on Roxy, just as a character to read about, not saying I think she's a bad character or anything like that, is, like, with Eris and Sylphie, obviously they get older, so you get, like, changes in their designs and all that sort of thing. You're like, I wonder what they're going to look like when they're older and all that. Whereas Roxy just looks the same the whole time, and that's boring.
Well, that's why she's my goddess. Because she just looks the same the whole time. I can, like, worship her as she is in season 1, and then worship her as she still is in season 2.
Fair enough. Can't fault that logic.
This is why the Church of Roxy is a thing, and there's no Church of Fitz or Eris. That, and we don't have either of their pantsu on, like, an altar. Admittedly.
Oh, we've got Jimothy in the house. I wonder if he has any new stories for us this week.
Not yet, but he is apparently a Fitz fan. I like that local tax collectors are in this. There's got to be a story behind that, right?
I don't know. Maybe his local tax collector is hot. Maybe not.
I do like Ricardo, though. He's probably my favorite right now because he knows what's up.
Hey, Nat.
Just reading some of these.
Now, truthfully, do you find not degenerated Rudeus attractive? Obviously, as far as finding anime characters attractive can go. Not yet, but when he's a bit older. He's still a bit young for me.
Well, he's what? He's like 15 now, right?
I think he's 16, yeah. But remember, I'm pretty old, so...
Yeah.
A 16-year-old looks like a fetus to me, you know, because I'm old.
It's always interesting being an adult who likes anime, because on the one hand, I always do feel kind of awkward when I find an anime girl attractive, because, you know, they are generally high school students, and I sort of have to age them up in my mind to really feel comfortable going, oh yeah, she's hot.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's...
Which is another reason I like Roxy.
You can say...
I don't have to do that.
You can say, like, oh, that, you know, I can say that I think it's a good-looking character, you know, it's a attractive character design. It's just, to be my husbando, they need to be a little bit older, you know? Because,
that's fair.
Because that's what I'm into. Paul would be alright. Wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him, though.
You would not want to bang Paul.
No, but...
Well, you don't know what he's been up to. I mean, we do technically.
Yeah, but they got healing magic in that world.
That's true. That is true. You know, I do understand where you're coming from with that. And, you know, to be fair, like, I don't think this is quite spoilers since it's not plot specific, but Rudeus does become a handsome man when he's an adult. Yeah, for sure. Ricardo says Natalie prefers those who can manhandle her like Reged or Paul if Paul wasn't scummy. Well, Reged is definitely old. He's old enough. Yeah. Oh my God. Reged is like an aged wine.
Yeah. I'm not sure when someone becomes too old. I think in these kind of settings, never really. But if they still look
If they're
young.
if they're immortal, then I don't think it matters too much.
No,
Like, you know,
but there is a point where they're too young for me, and that is probably younger than
Not-
sort of early 20s.
not of legal age. Oh,
Not even. It's not a case of legal or not legal, because in my country the age of consent is 16 anyway. But
oh,
it's more a case of
Oh.
like, you know, it's just weird to like think about them as your husbando if they're like young enough to be your son. I can still respect the designs and all that, but you know.
but you can't really husbando or fangirl over.
No, I can still fangirl over
No,
them, but like as a
Okay.
cool character, not as husbando, you know?
Yeah, not in the sexual sense where you're like, wow, I would smash that hard.
Yeah, and that's why I really appreciate it when they put a character that's a little bit older in, you know, like Gojo Satoru.
Oh man. Going to the JJ. Oh man. I can't. No, so I have a lot of friends who are like Fujoshi.
Really?
And Gojo Satoru is, oh my god, he's like the biggest Fujoshi bait I've ever seen in my entire life. Women ship this dude with every other dude in Jujutsu Kaisen. Like everyone.
I'm not
Crazy. I'm like,
I'm not a Fujo, but I'd still probably find that interesting to look at, you know?
I mean, if you want, like, my friends have, like, shared stuff on Discord, gives me nightmare. I mean, you know, I'm totally cool with it, but it's still, like, it's stuff that I kind of regret seeing. You know, you open the Discord and suddenly you see, like, Gojo Satoru with, like, a bunch of dudes. You're like, wow, I didn't want to see that this morning.
Who do the Fujoshis, you know, ship you with?
Me?
Is it SB?
I have no... Well, so, if we're going, like, me specifically, there was a point, like, at one point in time on Facebook, where I have a friend named Ronnie Verdi, who is also an author. He's actually traditionally published through Tor, Tor books. And a lot of people were writing, like, slash fanfiction of us. So that would, I guess, be my yaoi ship with me.
I used to have a friend
But I don't
who used to write like yaoi / fan fiction about her boyfriend and my boyfriend at the time.
You know what? So long as it's not Harry Potter.
And she'd come up with these whole like dramas, and we were in it as well, you know. and we'd just sit around talking about. We'd sit around talking about it.
Part in this?
I was in the story,
Oh God.
but she'd just tell them about it while they were sitting there. They didn't mind. They found it funny, but you know.
I mean, I would find it hilarious. I found it hilarious when people were shipping me and my friend.
Yeah.
It's funny when it's nice when you can just sort of accept it as it is and be like, yeah, okay, I can roll with this.
But some people ship you with me. Yeah.
Show of hands. How many people ship me and Natalie together? I'm curious.
I don't know, because people also ship me and SB and me and Necro. Get shipped with a lot of people. Because I'm like the only woman.
However, I've got something that they all don't have that I know you like. I'm an author.
That is true.
And I know you always tell me that if you're ever going to marry someone, you'd want to marry an author. Specifically a light novel author, which I am.
That is true, you are.
So you know, everybody else is, you know, they're shippable, lovable, but husband material right here. just gonna throw that out there. And Tots is nyaing.
Yeah. Ding Dong Head says, I'm shipping Ed and SB. A lot of people actually ship Ed and SB.
You know what? I will get on that ship.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
I agree.
I mean,
Like I've
they're
only
both
watched
straight, but like you
few
say,
of
someone's gonna have an exception sometimes. So
everyone's got an exception. Oh, and we got a fan here who's read the beginning after the end, which by the way is written by another Brandon.
Jimothy says, I don't ship Brandon with Natalie, I ship Brandon with Espy. I ship Natalie with this sentient brick I found that wants to have a mouth so that it can eat rice. Okay.
Oh. I mean, you know,
I don't want a brick.
Steal me away. I said SB was trying to like steal me away in that stream that I was in with you last time.
Yeah, that's what SB does though. He rizzes people. He's the Riz Master.
He does have that mad Riz, I won't lie. Like, it's unfortunate that we can't actually do like a video streaming because I'm sure he's got some drip too, and if he combined like his Riz with his drip, I'd be like, well.
Oh, he does go on camera on Ed streams. He goes on camera on Ed streams. I don't.
I have not.
Because I never go on camera because it kind of ruins the whole VTuber vibe. But SB does go on camera on Ed streams, and Ed uses it to like try and tell if he's hiding something or lying about spoilers by looking at his eyes.
Right, and fortunately he can't do that with you. Though, do you go on as like your VTuber model? Like, can you do that?
I can, but I don't normally. I do on my old streams that I used to do, because sometimes I was doing them with other people who had models, and you know, we both go on. I don't like having a mix of live action and that kind of model. I think it looks weird. It kind of ruins the effect if you're like talking to a real person. So I just have an icon when I'm on Eds.
That's fair, though also I will say that you know, I have watched, I don't know, do you know VTubers very well? Others?
I don't really watch any. There's a few I know as like friends on Twitter and stuff, but I don't really, I really mainly only watch like scripted content, so I don't really know any VTubers to watch.
Alright, that's fine. There's two that one, her name's Iron Mouse, and she does like a lot of streaming with this dude named Connor, who
yeah, I mean, I know who they are.
Okay,
yeah,
you know who they are. So they do a lot of streaming together, and you know, I think it works. It looks fine to me. Like, I see no issues with it outside of the fact that I feel like Connor sometimes has really bad anime takes.
Yeah, he was never really like a fully an anime-tuber though. He did more like stuff about voice acting and like variety stuff. So I don't really mind if he has bad takes. It's not like when it's Mother's Basement or somebody.
Oh my god, don't even get me started on Mother's Basement. I remember watching some of his videos, and after a certain point I'm like, wow, this dude has horrible takes. I cannot watch him anymore.
Jimothy says, Natalie's model looks like it cannot be trusted near red wine or white wine or gin. That's not my model, that's the real me.
Yes, this is the real Natalie.
My model can't steal your gin because she lives inside the internet.
She can steal it virtually, though.
Yeah, that's true. But then, what are you doing only having virtual gin?
You know what, though? That actually makes me think you should get someone who can...
It's like an NFT of a bottle of gin.
Yeah. Well, no, or not that, but like, you know how some models get like extra features?
Yeah.
Like, you could probably have someone like draw a hand holding a bottle of gin.
I could, but
when you do a stream.
I don't need my avatar to look like a functioning alcoholic, you know?
This is true. This is true. However, I think of Natalie as sort of like the same entity as you, but also a separate entity because she's within the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
So...
And according to fan art, she's a lot more interested in footers than I am.
I wanna see this fan art. Can you link me to that?
Oh,
I'm a little
it's
curious.
somewhere on X. Someone did some art of me and Tonkatsu Sinclair, so another YouTuber with a VTuber model, but played by a man. And it was really funny.
So, out of curiosity, how long ago was this, and how far will I have to scroll to see it?
I don't know. I did retweet it though. I think it was last year sometime, about a year ago.
Last year. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I might have to go like, can you go onto X and like type in, you know, NatalieXHunter 2022
Futa fan art. I wasn't the Futa in the image. I mean, there was a set of them. There was a set of them. But
I mean, if you were the Futa, I would probably not want to see it, just because of my mental image of you.
Yeah.
I don't want that taint. I want that to remain pure for my, you know, my horny fantasies. We have 69 watches right now.
Nice.
Everyone, please stay on. Anyone else, don't come on. We need that right there to stay as it is. And
yeah,
pull up my notes again.
Yeah, we should probably talk a bit about Mushoku Tensei before we go.
Yeah, and there were a few things that I actually did want to discuss here, aside from, you know, female Rudy.
Well then,
when Rudy is
regale us. You have the floor. Regale us.
So, I feel like we should probably talk about like the ending. You know, where after, you know, Zanoba, Rudy, and Fitz by Julie, like they give her the name, which was based off of the name of Zanoba's late brother, who he accidentally killed. You know, I thought that was a good hint into perhaps Zanoba's past regrets.
Yeah.
And how he really can't control his strength.
Yeah, I mean, it was mentioned, I think, in season 1, wasn't it? That he had the nickname of like the head ripping prince because he'd accidentally...
Yeah, because he accidentally popped his younger brother's head off.
Yeah. And obviously...
and I think also someone else mentioned this, but Zanoba did have a wife, you know, past tense R.I.P. She is dead because he killed her with his super strength. You know, which I think all comes back into perhaps his love of dolls, which we were talking about. You know, I really do think that Zanoba, there's been a lot of, not quite foreshadowing, but hints about his past, about how, you know, maybe Zanoba's love for dolls really is because, you know, he can't love a human. You know, as you were saying, he can't have sex with someone because, you got someone giving $5.
I know, I'm going to do an ara. I was just waiting for you to finish making your point. I don't interrupt you for aras.
I appreciate that, but I kind of want to hear your ara.
Okay, so...
Give me some nice bills.
Yeah, but it's not for you, it's for William Walker.
Oh, no, William.
Ara.
You stealing my ara?
Thank you,
Wait,
William
again,
Walker. Ara. Thank you, William Walker. He says, Natalie, how are you? I hope things are better. I'm happy I finally got to see a stream. Love you guys. Thank you.
And Azriel was shocked that Zanoba was married. Yes, Zanoba was married, and his wife is dead because he killed her. I don't know if that was discussed in season 1, but it was discussed in the light novels that season 1 adapts. So yes, he was married. But, you know, going into that, I think his naming of Julie was perhaps a way to honor and remember his, you know, his youngest brother who he accidentally took the life of.
I think it also shows that he wanted to give, even though Julie's a slave, he wanted to give her a meaningful name that connected her to him. you know, and
Yes.
it kind of shows that she's not going to be treated as nothing but a tool, you know.
Yes, and I do know that, like, right now, I don't think Zanoba has any particular feelings for her.
He doesn't really relate to anybody, though.
Right. Well, I mean, like, you know, first off, as a prince, I think he puts himself above literally everybody else except people like, you know, Ariel, obviously, who is also a princess, and then Rudy, who is his, you know, master.
And yeah, but he's very much about, like, respecting people that are, you know, skilled in the crafts that he's interested in. So it makes sense that he like looks up to Rudy, but I don't know that he particularly relates to him or anything like that. He just wishes he could do what Rudy can do. And you know, exactly. We did see Rudy, like, you know, telling him to be more respectful to Fitz, because of course he was acting as he would normally introduce himself as a prince.
No, definitely. And also, I do feel like, you know, this moment at the very end, I think it's sort of a way that paves other people to entering Zanoba's, like, not necessarily his inner circle, but, like, to become more emotionally intimate, where he's, like, becomes invested in them as people rather than just, you know, these non-entities that are kind of there. So I think there's gonna be a lot of good development with Zanoba, and I'm trying really hard not to say any spoilers, guys. This is the problem when you read the light novels, is you know everything that happens. Like, well, I don't want to say this, because I know it's spoilers, but not giving spoilers or trying hard not to. I think that you know, these few moments at the very end there are sort of defining for what Zanoba's relationship with Julie, and even Fitz to another extent, will be like later on in the series.
Andrew Shepard said he seemed pretty deferential to the Beast Girls in the last episode, though. Hint, hint. I mean, in that case, it's like, you know, they are the class bullies, and so he's probably a bit intimidated by them, because while he could easily kill them if he wanted to, he probably doesn't want to kill his classmates, even if they are bullies, you know, so he can't really do anything except be deferential towards them. He can't really be the one to change their attitudes, you know.
Well, and I do think they maybe bullied him before Rudy showed up. Like, that was sort of the vibe that I got during their introduction, was that these girls probably bullied him in some way, shape, or form, which I can't remember if that was discussed in the light. God, it's been so long.
Yeah, I can't remember what specifically, but I mean, they were basically like a girl gang from a delinquent anime. And of course they are also the equivalent of princesses in their tribe. So they wouldn't see him as having a higher status than them.
That's true. I don't know how he would see them with their status, though, because I don't remember how it is in the Shirone Kingdom, but I do know that, you know, there is a certain level of racism in the series. Like, you know, beast people are often looked down upon. I know they're very wanted as slaves in the Astra Kingdom. I know that people in the Millis continent, or the Millis country, are very human supremacists.
But I think this situation would be that Zanoba would only have the choice of, you know, he can't do half measures. He couldn't give him a little slap or anything, you know. Either he takes it or he ends up killing them, because that's how his strength is. So I don't think he would stand up to what are essentially just like bully teenage girls. You know, they're not going to murder him or anything. It's like, well, you know.
And I also think that, you know, that also kind of ties back into how he killed his wife and younger brother is maybe he doesn't want to do that,
No.
and he's so worried about doing it again.
Yeah, of
that
course.
He's grown, that his personality has become a lot more meek.
Yeah.
Than it might otherwise be. Though I do remember he beat up Pax pretty damn good.
Yeah, but Pax is a little shit, so.
Well, and to be fair, you know, his master was asking for it.
Yeah. But I think,
So,
you know, like, Pax's plan was also really stupid. So, you know.
Pax was very dumb. And Josh Thomas Moore is saying, I would be intimidated by a Persona, to be honest. I would be intimidated by her.
I would just want to be in their gang.
Aroused. You just want to be a what?
I want to be in their gang. I want to hang around with the delinquent beast girls.
Well, if genetically modified cat girls becomes a thing, maybe that will be possible.
Yeah.
Let's hope that Elon gets on that, I guess.
Yeah.
He's the one who's constantly talking about that on.
I nyat at him on X quite often, and he doesn't make me a cat girl.
He never responds.
No.
See, that's unfortunate. He only responds to like the big accounts, I feel.
Yeah.
Or like the ones who get enough responses that it warrants a reply.
And the ones.
Then I'm not sure if it's actually him or if it's like.
And the ones that actually pay for Twitter, which I don't.
You know what? I pay for Twitter and he hasn't responded to me yet. I'm still waiting to get like that partial shadow ban unbanned.
Really? Yikers.
Yeah. I'm still getting aired even like 2 months after it happened. And I haven't done like anything. I haven't posted anything that's like getting me
yeah, you've been posting quite tame stuff lately since that happened.
I've been a very good boy, I feel. Have I been a good boy?
Yeah. You can have head pats.
Lots of head pats?
Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate that.
I'll give you head pats if you give me chin scratches.
Good boys need head pats too. I will give you all the chin scratches. You will be the only one who gets those now. They are exclusively Natalie's.
Oh.
So we can say this is like Natalie's chin scratches. Sorry, you can't have them. Nobody else can have these.
And I will purr.
I want to hear that. Can you do that right now?
Okay, I can purr into the microphone. That's a bit of purr ASMR for you guys.
That just kind of makes me growl.
That's how I purr. I could go downstairs and find an actual cat and make it purr and just tell you it was me, and then you'd be like, wow, you do the best cat impressions, you know.
Oh my god, no. But then it wouldn't be the same thing. And I don't think I'd feel like the grr if it was one of your cats.
No. Well, it's my dad's cat because I'm at my dad's house.
I wouldn't feel the grr if it was one of your dad's cats.
His name.
It has to come from you.
His name is Colin, the cat. I mean.
Colin.
Yeah.
Colin the cat. So CC.
The reason he's called Colin is because he had to have some surgery on his colon when he was a kitten, and so his name is basically a dad joke. His name is a pun because Colin sounds a bit like colon. Dad
jokes are the best. I always cringe, but I love them so much. Head pats for Brandon. Am I a Chan now? Brandon Chan?
I don't know.
Vampcore.
Vampcore does offer some head pats from time to time, so, you know, maybe it's good to be a Chan.
How do you feel about... Maybe. How would you feel about calling me Brandon Chan?
I would call you Brandon Kuhn now.
Okay.
I used to call you Brandon Senpai. But now I think I can call you... Before, I called everyone Senpai that when I first get talking to them. If they are a writer or a YouTuber that's been doing it longer than me, because that's what your Senpai is. So...
Well, you know what? If you continue to call me Senpai, you know what we could do?
Nagatoro?
Hentai Senpai.
Oh.
No. Nagatoro. If we Nagatoro'd, unlike Hachi Joji, I would Kaibid on you so bad.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
You would never be able to not be Nagatoro.
I love the Kabadon. I love the Kabadon.
I know you do.
Yeah, you know I do.
I know you do. Oh yeah. Just so you know, because you live in Italy, I can't do it, but I have many a times thought of doing that to you.
Yeah.
Natalie. Would you nya if I did that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that as an affirmative.
Kekarek says, tough question, Nat. Say one good quality of your co-podcasters, Necro, SB, and Brandon. Why would that be a tough question? They're awesome. All of them are awesome.
And we're hot. I'm just gonna say that we are dead sexy.
Yeah, true.
All three of us.
True.
We got the riz and the drip. I've never actually seen either of them.
Haven't you?
Which
I have seen photos of them both. And I've seen SB on video chat. And in his videos, he appears on camera in a lot of his videos as well. SB does.
Yeah, and I'll need to watch one of Ed's videos. Is he on YouTube as well? Because I know he does Twitch, but I don't know if he's on YouTube. He is, right?
SB. Yeah.
Not SB.
Oh, Ed. Ed's on. He posts his Twitch streams to YouTube as well.
Okay, I will have to follow him then, because I'm not. I'm following you, SB, and Chibi, and then I think I'm still following like Aki and Joey, who I kind of don't watch their videos anymore.
I've never actually bothered following them because they, not that I've got anything against them. It's just they do make that more like vlog type content, which I don't really watch. I normally watch more like analysis type stuff. So I've never really.
Right.
I think I follow Giguk. I follow Sid Snap because she's funny.
I follow Gig. I love Giguk and Sid Snap. They're hilarious.
Yeah.
But I follow them because they're like my people.
Yeah.
Like Sid Snap's like, all about the NTR. She's an NTR fan. So that's just kind of amusing to me. But also, like, she reads hentai. I'm like, this is like someone I would like to hang out with.
Yeah,
I've actually emailed her and Giguk asking if they want to promote my trash content.
Aww.
Of course, it would be like paid, but they've never responded. I'd be like, hey, would you mind doing a video about, my light novels, my trash light novels? But they've never actually replied. Sad face.
Aww.
Sad emoji.
Well, when you asked me, I replied, and that's how you end up being on my streams.
It's very true. It is very true. One day, though, I do want to get you to do like an analysis of my stories and see what people say about that.
I don't even talk about my own books on my YouTube channel, but maybe I could be persuaded to do it on a stream or something.
Well, I think you know this, right? There's I feel like I sounded southern just now. There's a contest going on with J Novel Club.
Yeah, I saw you tweet about that on X. Did you? What did it?
English light.
You post about that on X. I can't say tweet about it on X, I guess.
I do. It's just like word counts, but I am doing that, and if you win, the grand prize winner gets, I think it's $15,000, but more importantly, you get your novel. I think your novel gets translated into Japanese by, I'm not sure if it was Dasha or Kadokawa, but it was a company, and then it's there's a possibility of it getting an manga adaptation.
Yeah, I mean, that would be worth a lot more than just the prize money to break into the market, you know. I was tempted to write something for it, but I'm just not really ready to go back into writing novels yet. So I'm just going to root for you. But if you want me to read your work in progress and stuff, you know, maybe hype it up a little bit on the X, I can do that.
Well, so I'm kind of keeping, like, outside of, you know, the title, How to Tame Your Dragon Girlfriends, I'm kind of keeping, like, the actual content on the down low, just so nobody else can, like, take the ideas I have.
Yeah.
Admittedly, you know, every other author is competition at this point in time.
Yeah, that's
so even
true.
though I want to root for everybody else, I definitely want to be, like, the one who wins.
Yeah.
But
I've already told you I'm not going to enter, so, you know.
I mean, there are quite a few other original English light novelists who I think are following you.
Yeah, that's true. But you can
but,
send
like,
me. You can send me the
original,
sexy parts, you know.
I can give you some exclusive content, but you're the only one who would see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, like, my thing was, you know, if it gets famous in Japan, you know, let's say it becomes a manga and it sells like 100,000 copies in a week, you know, it may get its own anime adaptation, which will come over here to the West, and then we can, like, talk about it and analyze it.
Yeah, we could. I don't know. Me and Espy could talk about it. It might seem a little bit vain of you to be on there analyzing your own work.
I'm just a vain person anyways. I could do it. No, I mean, for that I'd have to be like a guest interviewee, I suppose.
Yeah, I would certainly want exclusive interview rights, like the first interviews.
If that happened, I don't know how that would work if I was published in Japan with that series, because J Novel Club would technically own the rights.
Yeah, but I could still interview you about general shit, couldn't I? You know, because I do that anyway.
I'd have to ask how all that works, because I don't know.
No, I'm only messing around anyway. It's just like, you know, I'm pretty sure you're still allowed to talk to your friends who are YouTubers and stuff. Is like, they're not going to stop you doing anything like promotional.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, like, you know, how it would work as like a live stream, because I've never had my content owned by another.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do readings or anything like that, but
might
maybe. Or you could just
it's very possible.
You could just have a clause that the audiobook version in English has to be read by me.
If we do any audio dramas or audiobooks, must be read by Natalie.
Yeah.
I'll accept nothing else. Nothing less but the best. Which is actually a quote from the Tula Rude dub. I don't know if you ever saw that. Horrible.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's actually not bad. But it's not Mushoku Tensei.
No, I mean, a lot of people like it though. I would assume it's probably something I would find entertaining. I just never got around to watching it.
You would probably like it. Speaking of, did you watch the Mushoku Tensei dubs at all?
No. I don't watch dubs of anything.
Oh. I feel like these were like some of the few dubs that I actually enjoyed. Like, I support dubs in general.
See,
but for the most part, I recognize that dubs are not as good as subs.
The thing is, I normally only watch things once. Obviously with things like Mushoku that are like among my favorites, I watch episodes more than once, but I'm not going to go back and watch a show just to see if it sounds better in English when I know it's not going to. So, you know, like...
So you're not like me, where I watched My Dress Up Darling like 15 times in both English and Japanese.
No, I mean, even some of my favourite shows I've only watched once or twice. I've actually only watched ReZero twice. And that was just to see the director's cut after seeing the original.
How was the director's cut?
It's basically the same, just there's a couple of extra scenes.
So it doesn't.
And the episodes are double
too
length.
much?
They basically put 2 episodes together at a time, so they're like double length episodes. But it does have the Who's.
Long.
It does have the Who's Rem at the end.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty interesting. I do remember, like I think I mentioned in the beginning, I did sort of drop off of ReZero around season 2. But I had read the light novels up to, I don't remember what volume, but it was the volume immediately after the end of season 1 happens. And so that moment was one of those big, like, oh shit moments where I'm like, the original anime didn't have that moment.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that it did happen in the director's cut version. Which did the director's cut version come after or before season 1, or after or before the season 2 started airing?
Before. I think it was just because it took like 4 years to get season 2. They wanted to just reignite the interest in ReZero basically. So they aired on TV the director's cut to bring more people in or remind people where it was up to. You know, normally any extra scenes like that will just end up on like the Blu-ray, but in that case they did actually air it on TV.
Okay.
Somebody's saying,
So,
young Kylie Music says, show us your face. No. Then asks who I'm talking to and if I'm on a date. I'm talking to Brandon Varnell. He's a light novel author. And
this is a date.
Yeah, I guess so now. Because we did plan it
This is now this is a streaming date.
Yeah. But
which you are now all part of, so I guess that makes you voyeurs, and that makes us voyeuristic.
Or doesn't it make us exhibitionists?
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah.
I'm getting my fetishes mixed up. Please forgive me for you know what? I'm gonna have to go over to my altar where I worship Roxy's panties and bow in supplication for an hour.
Right.
So that my sins can be forgiven.
Your sins can be absolved.
Yes.
Ricardo says, I wonder if ReZero will have a director's cut for season 2 because season 3 is taking a long time as well. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if it does. I think it would be good too because where it was aired in a sort of split core fashion, you know, it's been a really long time since the first core. So it might help people to reignite their interest in it before season 3.
I do think we definitely would need like a refresher as well.
Well, I definitely wouldn't need a refresher because I've read Arc 4 like in the web novel, the stupidly long version of Arc 4, like 3 times. It took me like a month to read the whole thing. So
is the web novel longer than the light novels?
The Arc 4 is literally like something like 1.5 million words.
The hell? What?
Yeah.
So then, wait, how many volumes is Arc 4 in the light novels?
I can't remember.
Okay.
They weren't actually out when I first read it, so in English. So I read the web novel version. Then I read it again to refresh my memory before season 2 came out. And then I ended up reading parts of it again because I was making videos at that point about it. So I ended up reading it 3 times.
And the light novels were shorter?
Yeah, but I prefer the web novel version.
That's actually kind of interesting because I know the Mushoku Tensei light novels had a lot of extra content.
Yeah, he added some stuff and filled in some time skips and stuff. ReZero, Arc 4 particularly, had to be streamlined a lot. Because, I mean, people already thought it was kind of... They spent a lot of time in the sanctuary for how much anime-onlys were, you know, interested in that location. And people did find it, you know, not necessarily as exciting as the previous season because of that. Can you imagine if it was its original length? Yeah.
Oh my god, no. I could not. But that's kind of interesting because I know Tape Nagatsuki and Maganote are friends in real life. So when
Yeah.
you hear that, you think about how different their writing styles are.
Well,
Like, and I've
when you
heard a
think
lot about
when you think that the web novel of Mushoku Tensei only took like 2 years to finish, and the web novel
Really?
of ReZero's currently
Still ongoing.
ongoing, and it's been over 10 years now. So, yeah, they have different approaches, but
Holy crap! That makes me wonder how long ReZero is going to be by the time it's done.
it's going to be a long old boy, I think.
It's gonna be a big one. Holy crap! Like, I know Mushoku Tensei is what, 25 volumes if you don't include the sequel series that is currently being written.
It's 26. Then there's the side stuff like Redundancy and Old Dragon's Tale.
Well, I thought Redundancy was the sequel.
No, Redundancy is kind of side stories that tie up loose ends for some characters towards the end.
Okay.
But that's already been written in web novel form, and it's just started coming out in light novel form in Japan. So there's that. There's another one called Jobless Oblige, which is a similar thing, but it's specifically about one particular character. And then there's a prequel story, which is Old Dragon's Tale. That's only in web novel form at the moment. And then there's going to be a sequel that continues
Okay.
from,
The story after Rudeus.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's not really a spoiler, you guys. It's just how it is.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. Ricardo says, not gonna lie, I would love to see a crossover between Mushoku Tensei and ReZero, even if it's a short story.
And
that does exist.
Do you mind if I say this?
Yeah.
Yes, it does exist. So if you read the manga series, I think it was either volume like 5, 6, or 6. I'd have to go back and go look at the mangas. But if you read the manga series, Tape Nagatsuki wrote a crossover where Subaru winds up in Mushoku Tensei's world and meets Rudeus and becomes friends with them, and has to overcome Orsted.
They both. I could.
If you did that, you'll have to let me know and be like, hey, Brandon.
Gonna do a little nya. So you know.
So you know.
But
yeah.
I do need to kind of start wrapping this stream up soon because my dad's making a barbecue outside and I'm hungry. It's like 9:30 at night here.
I would 100% be like, you're choosing barbecue over me, but I haven't had breakfast or lunch yet.
I'm not choosing barbecue over you.
Okay.
I am just an opportunist that can smell that there's going to be barbecue.
Got it. That's fair. Though if you want, you could always have me.
I don't want to barbecue you.
But I do have a sausage. It's not an Italian sausage, but might be just as good.
I'm sure it is.
Okay. All right. And it actually has been a lot longer than I expected. Like 1.5 hours.
Yeah, and I think we did cover all of the stuff we wanted to talk about the episode, and we had some fun and some banter as well. So I hope you had a good time.
I did. I always enjoy my time with you.
Oh. And next time, hopefully...
Does that make you blush?
Yeah. Hopefully next time we get you on, we'll have SB as well, so that you can have your ara off.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm hoping SB...
SB, if you're on here and watching, I hope you heard that.
I'm hoping SB will be back for next week, guys, but it's going to depend how he's feeling, So I'll keep you posted on X and maybe on the community posts throughout the week. There will be a stream, but I don't know if it will be with him or not, depending on how it's going to go. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Hope you had fun. And I look forward to seeing you for more Mushoku Tensei things throughout the week and next Sunday, of course.
Yep. See you guys later. And Ricardo, it's not that I'm too horny on main, it's that I'm not horny enough. Thank you.